We've done one so far, which is pure competition. And now we're doing the second one, the monopoly, like night and day. They're different, complete opposites of each other. So let's start off by defining the market structure, the characteristics. First characteristic of the monopoly, a single seller. So the first characteristic of the monopoly is that there is a single seller. Now I need to be very clear as to what I mean by a single seller. You could technically have a lot of firms in the industry. You could have 20, 30, 40, 50. But when we say a single seller in the monopoly, what we mean is the market is dominated by one particular seller. So be very careful here. When I say single seller, the market itself is dominated by one firm. So even though we could have a lot, single seller in the context here is one firm dominates the market. So here, qualify that, is one firm that dominates the market. And usually, there are no close substitutes for the good. If you don't buy from the monopolies, the chances are you're going to have to do without the good or service. So one firm dominates the market, and kind of like a rule of thumb, we argue if the market share for that one firm is say greater than 85%, so one firm has over 85% of the market share, kind of sort of consider that a monopoly. So one firm dominates the market. So when you see that characteristic, be aware that that's what we mean. So we're not saying it's a market where there's only just one seller in there. Otherwise you wouldn't find a lot of examples of that. We're saying one seller dominates. Market share of usually over 85%. That's what we're calling single seller. Okay? That's the first characteristic. Second characteristic. Does it be? If you remember when we were doing the purely competitive firm, we said the firm was a price taker. The monopolist is not taking anything from anybody. The monopolist is known as a price maker. So here, this one, monopolist is a price maker. And the idea here is the monopolist controls the quantity sold and hence has control over the price. So the monopolist is a price maker, has control over the quantity sold and has control over the price. This is going to define a couple of things for the demand curve. It's going to look a particular way because the monopolist is a price maker. Unlike the purely competitive firm that was the price taker and the demand curve came out as a horizontal line, monopolist, slightly different story. We'll get into that in a minute. One more characteristic. For the monopolist, they have barriers to entry. So a monopolist can block entry. What we mean here is, as the definition, no competitor can easily enter the market. That's the idea there. So block entry, barriers to entry, and a monopolist can stop new firms from entering the market. So they can do that. Yes?
What about leaving?
What's that?
What about leaving the market?
Well, that's a good point.
No.
Hold on a minute. Now, when we talk about a monopolist, one firm dominates the market. Yeah? So you say, what about leaving it? Well, if that one firm who dominates the market leave, what do we have left to analyze? Yeah? So they block entry or barriers to entry. They are price makers. And you have a single seller that dominates the market. Can you think of examples? Awful.
Internet companies?
Which one?
Internet companies or phone one? Like
Internet, tell me the name. Like
AT&T and Time Warner Cable. Like each one dominates one part. Like one is in Sherman Oaks, the other one is in Van Nuys.
So you say internet or cable? Which one?
Cable.
The cable? I'll agree with you with the cable. The cable is kind of like geographical monopoly. So here you get cable from Time Warner. You can't call Charter and tell them to come up over here and give you some cable, right? So I'll agree with you there. Those are kind of carved out in terms of a geographical space. Yeah? And when you say internet, the reason why I kind of paused is internet is a very weird and broad framework. What I will argue is the delivery of online content is a little bit of a monopoly. And when I say the delivery of online content, I'm very specific. Because what I mean is, you want to watch Orange is the New Purple or whatever, right? And that's on Netflix. Well, the delivery of that content from Netflix to your iPad or your phone or whatever is dominated predominantly by Comcast, right? So the delivery of online content at that level is a monopoly there. And I will agree with you, cable in certain geographical areas, traditional cable in a sense. Any other examples?
Like PG&E, or I don't know what it's called up here, but like the gas and electricity.
So okay, so DWP and Southern California Edison, water and power, I agree. Yeah, those are monopolies, and they're kind of created as what we call natural monopoly. So I agreed. Water and power, yes.
Microsoft?
The Office suite from Microsoft, absolutely, I agree. Those are monopolies, yes. Anything else? Sigal, you had?
With solar panels, like, was that like company, was that monopoly? I'm not really
I don't know enough about this industry if we have a lot of sellers. I don't know if anybody knows, but I don't know enough.
There's a number of sellers for solar panels.
It's quite a bit of them. So if we have quite a bit of them, because when I go in Home Depot, they're always hello, and I'm like, I don't own a house. I'm lying, but I don't want them to stop me, right? But if it's a lot of sellers, no. The pharmaceutical companies, we have a few, which makes, and once you have a few firms that kind of dominate the market, those are more oligopolies.
With the gas companies, like Shell and Arco, those companies.
So we have a few, because you reeled off some just now, Shell and Arco, right? Chevron. So few firms that dominate the market, more often than not, those are oligopoly. So you have to think of market structures where at least one firm dominates quite a bit of the market share.
Radio?
The licenses of radio is created in a geographical space that's kind of sliced by the FCC, and they are considered geographical monopolies.
I only know of one, like, satellite radio.
The way they kind of, so you mean satellite radio specifically? Sirius and the other one?
There's another one.
There's no more there?
Yeah.
Well, clearly that's a monopoly then. There was another one, right? What were they called?
Sirius bought it.
Yeah, but what were they? What were they? XM?
XM radio or something like that.
So no more?
It's now Sirius XM.
Oh no, they have the one name. Okay.
They only bought each other.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the U.S. domestic airline industry is a monopoly?
Like
U.S.
American
domestic airline
Airlines?
industry.
Like American Airlines?
Yes.
Yes.
You think that's a monopoly? Dominated by whom?
There's several.
So you're saying no?
Airline industry.
So the U.S. domestic airline industry, yes or no?
No.
Okay. No. Let me ask you this. An airline that goes to a small town in Indiana, and that's the American airline flight, and it's the only one that leaves the small town in Indiana at 9 p.m. Is that no monopoly?
Yes.
So if you want to leave the small town of Indiana, you gotta take this American Airlines flight at 9 p.m. Yes?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm giving you that example is you can create other structures that are not monopoly, geographical monopolies. Yeah? So airline industry, when you say there are several, absolutely that's an oligopoly. But in certain geographical areas, you could create monopolies within that particular space that could happen. Okay? The USPS, the delivery of first-class mail in the United States, that's a monopoly. Public transportation by MTA is dominated by the monopoly. Now earlier I asked you guys, would you like to have a monopoly as a business model, or which one you would choose? Some people are picking it because of the gain, but a lot of you said, give me the monopoly. Why?
You have more control of the price.
You're the only one in the market,
You can control the price.
and you can control the price. Yeah?